Hello everyone, it's Allison from Determined to Shine, where we use the magic formula of creativity, spiritual connection, and community to bring forth joy in our lives. I am so just in awe of the deck that I get to show you today, especially for something that's mass market and from Hay House, but regardless, this box is full of healing magic. It arrived this morning. I've spent, honestly, a couple hours with it already, and then I put it back in order to show you this deck, talk to you about how it works, and share with you why it's different, because this is way more than an oracle deck. So what do I mean? Let's dive in. This is the Sacred Forest Oracle by Denise Linn. Now, a little bit about Denise Linn. She is a author, teacher, miraculous soul on the planet, bringing forth healing and joy. And I've had the chance to learn from her many times. I've taken tons of her online courses as well as learn from her in person. Her meditations have changed my life. Her courses have changed my life. And so every time she has a new deck, I get really excited, but this one, game changer. So you saw me open the box. This is a standard Hay House box, and you have what appears to be, of course, the standard sized guidebook and cards. The card stock, this is the card back, it's really beautiful, is the nice matte from Hay House that I love. Hay House has been a little bit back and forth with their card stock lately, so I was super excited to see that they went with this. The guidebook is, at first glance, what you would expect. You get like your note from the author, you have the different ways to read the cards, and then of course each card's message is included in the book with the keyword, a little story, like a little bit of a narrative story about the picture on the card, or the art on the card, excuse me, and then just a message of the card, and finally a spirit message. So standard fare, right? Well, yes, except that, and I'm taking this off the screen for just a second. You'll see why in a minute. If you go to page 4 in the guidebook, right here under my thumb, if you blink, you could miss it. There's a page called bonus gifts, and there is a download code under my thumb because I don't want to give away anything that's not mine to give away. If you go to Hay House's website and enter this code, you get, I kid you not, 53 recorded guided meditations that are each about 10 minutes long. And there is one for every card. So when you pull a card, you can get your intuitive message, you can look at the guidebook, but then you can download this 10-minute meditation to like go into the spirit of the card and work with it. And I had a chance to do a couple today. I'm going to talk about them at the end of the video, but holy game changer, just what I needed for my personal messages today. And to get for the price of this deck, 53 10-minute meditations plus the cards, I can't even tell you. So let's get started. There's lots to cover. The first thing I want to just briefly talk about is my process with a new deck. I mentioned this a little bit in my last video that I posted yesterday, which was about using crystals and selenite wands in particular with card decks. And I want to start bringing just a tiny little touch of that into my videos, especially when I'm showing you a new deck. So to dedicate my new deck, because I like to do that with my selenite wands, as I mentioned, this was, I call this my Earth Magic wand. It is a green aura selenite wand with some little crystals and charms hanging off. And I just like to, hold the wand, tap the deck. Tapping the deck just knocks any stagnant energy out of it that may have accumulated when it was being published in transit, etc. And then I like to, sometimes I actually go through and touch and clear every single card, but I always kind of set the intention that I'm clearing the whole deck, and I just envision the light coming out of me. In this case, I actually imagine like the golden light healing from the earth coming up through my feet, all the way up, out of my hand, out of the wand, into the deck, to bless this deck, fill it with earth energy, fill it with magic, fill it with healing, fill it with my energy from my heart, and invite it to bring forth, its messages for the good of me and the good of anyone I read for with this deck. So just by taking that little extra step, I really believe it helps make the deck mine. And I love that. And if you want to know more about selenite wands, check out that video. But also, quick reminder, I do have a class on creating your own selenite wands coming up tomorrow. But if you're watching this later, the recording is available. So check the description box if you're interested in that class. We're going to have an amazing time. I'm going to make a fire wand, and we're all going to get to create together and do a wand blessing. So very excited. But you are here for the cards, right? Okay, so let's dive in, of course, there, and then we'll do more. So there are 52 cards, and each one is a spirit that lives in this sacred forest. Now, when you read the guidebook, I'm actually going to go in a little bit closer here, just on those cards. There we go. When you read the guidebook, Denise talks about how, look at this. This sacred forest is a place that is very much real, and kind of lives next to us in the world, on top of, etc., parallel to our current reality. And that each one of these cards is a portal into that particular spirit and energy. And based on the meditations, I'm going to tell you that is exactly true. Like, I love the guidebook. I think these cards are gorgeous. But what I especially loved was getting to hit play on that meditation and be transported by Denise's voice right into the forest to experience it for myself and to get to interact with some of these spirits. So these are your cards. I love this Guardians of the Land. They're just so pretty. And what I love is I feel like everything is in here that you would expect to find in a sacred forest, right? Like a meandering pathway. It's just really beautiful. And if you've worked with Denise at all or any of Denise's other decks, it will energetically feel really familiar to you, right? Like she always has a really deep connection with the land in her decks and in her writing, and that really comes forward in this deck. The Secret Spring. I love these. There are 4 spirit guardians of the seasons: autumn, spring, summer, and winter. Stag spirit, standing stones. Like, you can just imagine yourself wandering through this forest. And actually, like, since going through things earlier today, I've chosen a journal, and I am going to be creating a journal, probably an art journal if I'm just being honest, with for a page or 2 for every card in this deck. I love this Wild Roseberry. And just over time, you know, add to the journal each time I pull a card and do the meditation, because I really don't want to forget my experiences with it. And I really think I could create a really powerful journal, right, of my quote unquote experience in the forest. So the cards are beautiful. That's what they look like. Love it, love it. Let me talk you through what a reading looked like for me today, and then I'll show you how the guidebook works and talk about the meditations, okay? So I decided to just pull 2 cards related to what I need in my life right now. And the cards that came up for me were the Bee Spirit and the Daffodil Fairy. And what I loved about this too, right, is that these cards like look so good together, right? Like you can see that I'm like in need of this sunshine kind of energy in my life. So I really loved that. So I pulled up the guidebook and read the card messages. And I did them 1 card at a time. So the Bee Spirit message, it says, in the meadow, the flowers are heady with their sweet scents. Bees flit from flower to flower, their droning sounding like the combined chants of 1,000 monks. As you watch, you can see their focus on productivity and working in the community. The result of their industry is golden amber honey. So I loved that. And then I read through this message and the spirit message, which are great. I'm not going to read them all right now. And then I did the 10-minute meditation. And by the end of the meditation, I was sobbing. Like I was crying so hard, because what the bee had to say and what the bee symbolizes, and this whole experience of working with the bee, the fairy on the back, and the little magic elixir she's holding, which aren't really talked about in here, it came alive for me, and it had a message that my soul desperately needed to hear, and that it needed to hear right now. And then I chose this amber stone to hold while I was meditating, because I like to meditate with crystals. That's part of the other reason I want to journal that all together, right? Is I can put in one journal, like the bee spirit, mention that I use the amber, etc., and just pull that together for me. Then I went to the daffodil fairy with the New Beginnings card, which again is just what I needed. I'm at a place where, with Determined to Shine, this channel, my company, the whole extended community, I'm creating and adding some really new exciting things, and it's really fun. So it just, again, was like a perfect message for me, and it was affirming and loving and just helped me know that I was on the right path and that I could really move forward with some excitement and joy and glee instead of being in a place of grief, because I've been grieving a bit about some things I've had to leave behind. And then once again, the guidebook message reinforced that. It talked about life going in cycles. What do you need to release? And then I once again did the meditation from Denise that came with it. This time I meditated with this honey calcite. So I love calcite. And once again had a really powerful experience that was really, really joyful. Like for me, the bee meditation was very emotional, but the daffodil fairy meditation was just joyful and exciting and fun. And so I'm really, really excited to sit down and journal both of those probably later tonight, because I don't want to lose those messages. I did write down what I received, but, you know, make it pretty and put it in the new journal just for this deck. And I'm so excited to create a sacred forest like guidebook of my own, right? Or almost like a traveler's journal, like a, you know, my experiences in the forest. And so it will be, you know, as I mentioned, 1 or 2 pages per card, and I can mention the crystals I used. I'll probably put a note about the wand dedication in the front, because that's a really important part of my practice right now. And so I just think like this deck is so magical, and I would really be sad if anyone missed out on those meditations because they don't know they're there. They don't really talk about it very much in the guidebook. Like if you blink, you could miss it. And it's only because I really follow Denise very closely that I even knew they were in there. So they add so much to the deck. They've made this deck immediately go to the top of my list, and I can't wait to keep working with it all summer long, spend some time in the forest. The other next step for me is that I will edge this deck. I've talked about that a lot as a sacred practice for getting to know a deck. Likely in green, because I'm in a very earthy place and it's a very earthy deck, but maybe some browns or something, two-tone even, we will see. But that is my next step there. So that is your Sacred Forest Oracle rundown. I'm so excited about it. It's beautiful. Once again, Denise Linn has given us a tool that we can love forever and ever. Some of her decks, her Sacred Traveler in particular was one of my first decks, and it's still one of my most loved. And so I'm just really excited to keep getting to know this deck, and I can't wait to know what you think of it. So leave me a comment, let me know. I'm just excited to hear what you think, if you're gonna get it, if you have it, do you like it, etc., etc., etc. So that's all I got for you. Of course, oh, no, I have one more thing. I lied. You know I like to end all my videos with a message for you. And that is a reminder that, of course, if you are in a dark place, remember that the darkness is what? The darkness is temporary. And that the light is coming, and there is so much healing and magic for you ahead. I have been through some very, very dark times in my life, and I have come out every time maybe a little beaten up, or a lot beaten up, but more powerful, more excited, more empowered, and more full of joy than I ever could have been before that kind of catastrophe or whichever thing has happened. So through that dark time. So just remember that you are safe, you are loved, you are absolutely enough. You are so, so enough. You have no idea how enough you are. You are amazing. So I hope that you will find your ways to be determined to shine. If you like the video, of course, hit the like button, leave me a comment, subscribe, hit the bell, all the YouTube things everybody asks you to do. And if you check the description box, you will find a link to both a place you can buy your own copy of this deck, as well as the registration information for the custom Selenite Wands class. And I'll go ahead and link up yesterday's video as well, so that you can take a look at some of the other ones I've created, learn a little more, and see if you want to create with us. So lots of love to you, my friends. I will talk to you soon, and may you have just the best day. You are so, so loved. Have a great one, and I will see you soon.